Hello again, everyone. This is Tiara, and
Anne-Kathrin, hi.
we're here today to talk about how to cope with the coronavirus as a highly sensitive person, because we both feel that it's a very important topic to discuss right now.
Yeah, and of course, Tiara lives in the United States and I live in the Netherlands. So kind of I'm 2 weeks ahead of what is going to happen to you in 2 weeks. So it might also
Right.
be interesting to know what's ahead of you and how to cope as a highly sensitive person. We are in the middle of it right now, and it's really challenging over here. We are not on lockdown yet in the Netherlands, but if we aren't acting well and social distancing us enough, we are also going there. And yeah, it's really overwhelming for highly sensitive people to cope with this. I feel it myself. Usually I'm really grounded, but now I'm really struggling to stay grounded. I'm doing everything I can, and I just bundled my best tips together with Tiara how to stay grounded these days, because it's really
Yeah,
important.
I would just say we were both kind of discussing the different types of overwhelm, because it's now that everyone's at home and on their devices all the time, we're kind of being overwhelmed by the media and, information overload even more than we were before this happened. And so that's one type of overwhelm. But then there's also the overwhelm of that highly sensitive people tend to feel more of, is like everyone's feelings around everything and our own feelings. So
Yes.
there's like information overwhelm and then emotion overwhelm. So it's kind of, we're going to talk about how to cope with both of those types of overwhelm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and
Yeah.
we've categorized these like coping mechanisms into different categories. So there's like distracting, processing, connecting, and absorbing positivity. So we'll go into examples for each of those things.
Yeah. Yeah, because especially distraction is really important, because the thing is right now you're getting really so much information, so much emotional overwhelm from everywhere. When it's not the news and the media, it's the people around you who are overwhelmed, and then you take on their overwhelm. And the best thing you can do is to distract yourself and to really go within and take some time for yourself. And yeah, actually we have written down some ways to do that.
Yeah, and actually, I just want to add real quick that we don't want to necessarily say like distract yourself because it's also important sometimes to be aware of what's going on, and we don't mean just like totally disengage and not know
No.
what's going on, but there is a balance of like, if you're starting to feel like you were reading too much information and you're too freaked out about what's going on, like that's the time for your own well-being that you need to disengage and distract yourself. So it's kind of like keeping that balance as well. So when you do feel like you have been getting too much information overwhelm, and you do need to disengage and distract, one of the best ways I think for highly sensitive people and just people in general is diving into something that you would normally do if you were on vacation, just like a regular period of time off. You might read a book, you might watch a movie. I don't know if you have any other ideas.
Yeah, you know what helps me very well is to only engage with the news one time a day, because I want to stay updated. I want to know what's going on. But I can't watch it in the morning, because I watch it in the morning, I feel demotivated for the rest of the day. And
Mm-hmm.
if I watch it too late at night, then I will take the worries with me into my bed and into
Yeah,
the night. So
and you can't sleep.
yeah, I can recommend you to watch the news and to engage with it before you have dinner, or maybe even after you have dinner. Then you have some time to process it throughout the evening before going to bed. But don't read news straight before going to bed, because that's going to influence your sleep. And then you will be tired, which causes you to feel more overwhelmed. And it's going to be this vicious cycle. So really choose carefully when to engage with the news and try to distract yourself the rest of the day. And that's something,
Right.
yeah, that's really important.
I think another good way to disengage or distract is like bringing yourself back to the present moment of what you can actually control and what you can do. And right now, everyone's at home. Well, most people are at home, hopefully with their families.
Yeah.
And so that's a great way. Is just really appreciate your family and spend time with them and do things at home, and kind of get yourself into your little bubble when you're not actively engaging with information on the
Yeah.
internet.
Yeah, I
So
think that's a good one. Yeah, and to what, as you said, like being mindful of the moment here and now. If you're still allowed to go on outside by your government, just be in the here and now when walking outside. Enjoy the nature, enjoy what you see, what you hear, what you smell, and just take it in and try to let the future be what the future is, and
right.
Yeah,
Not
just
get caught
focusing.
up in worrying about things that haven't happened yet. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
actually talking about nature walks is a great way to segment into the next one, which is processing. So
yeah,
another way of coping with everything that you're feeling and everything going on is to process that information. And
yeah,
don't try to like shove away those thoughts or those feelings, but try to do what you can to let them move through you by processing them. And one of the great ways to do that is by taking a nature walk.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
yeah, and I think also journaling and getting in touch with any creative art form is
yeah.
great too, like playing music, drawing, writing, painting. Those are all great ways to sort of process what you're thinking and feeling by doing some other activity.
Yeah, and usually we highly sensitive people try to not cry too much because we're always being told don't cry. But what I found helps me sometimes when I walk in nature and I just feel the emotions bottling up or the overwhelm, I just let the tears flow, and just give it back to nature, give it, give
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
now, and simply process it that way, because crying is a way to process what is going on. So if you feel like crying, or if you feel like screaming, that's a way to let go of
Right.
that emotion. Don't feel weird. Everybody feels like screaming and crying right now. So don't feel weird if you're doing it, scream into your pillow, whatever, because
Right,
it
exactly.
helps
Yeah.
you to process what is going on. And yeah, I think, because I said we're 2 weeks ahead of what is happening over there. In 2 weeks, you will probably understand why I'm saying this, because it is really something to be upset about. And it is totally okay to be upset about it, because it hasn't happened to this extent ever before. So know that everything you're feeling is okay.
Right, it's absolutely valid.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
I think one of the things we talked about before too is that it's like a good way to process what you're feeling is if you want to talk about it with your family, like that's what they're there for, right? Is to sort of confide in. And that also goes along with our next sort of, section of coping mechanisms is to connect with loved ones. And so you can Skype with family or friends, you can do what Anne-Kathrin and I are doing right now.
yeah,
And spend time with your pets too, like really
yeah.
connect with those people and those relationships that do make you feel good.
It definitely helps to connect. And also, when you see what is happening over in Italy, even in despite of how heavily the country is hit with the virus right now, people are standing on the balconies singing together,
Yeah.
making dancing together, and just connecting as a community. And that's so beautiful to see, because it really gets you through this tough time, and what also helps me is to know that I'm not in this alone, and
Right.
everybody on earth is in this together. So we're all in this together, and that's the kind of connection you need right now, and that feeling of, okay, we will get through this together, and that really helps.
Right.
And
I'm sure. I feel like we could probably go on a whole tangent about like what the larger purpose of this might be to connect people across different cultures and things like that. But when you were talking about Italy and people standing on their balconies and singing and like creating music together, I'm glad you brought that up, because funnily enough, that connects to the next thing I was going to say about absorbing positivity,
yeah,
because there's one Instagram account which we'll link in the description box, but it's at goodnews_movement. And they've been posting all sorts of videos like that from like different countries in Europe, where people are like standing outside people's places, like singing them happy birthday and creating like jam session music
yeah,
together across the street, like
yeah,
from, balconies. And they're also sharing like positive environmental impacts that the social isolation is having on the planet, which is
yeah,
also a really good thing to do if you want to start thinking about like the benefits that this might be having. And obviously there's like really tragic things that are happening because of this virus, but there's also silver linings you can find where like the planet is greatly benefiting from everyone staying inside, and the lack of pollution, and like ways that we're connecting across countries, across the world, and like sharing the experience together is really powerful. So there
yeah,
are some benefits to this
definitely.
crazy thing that's happening.
Yeah, and because this positivity will help you to get through it, will help you to deal with the overwhelm and to
Mm-hmm.
cope finally. So, to sum up, first start distracting, start processing, connect with each other, and also absorb positivity whenever you can. And that will help you to get through your day, to get through your weeks, and eventually also get through this crisis in the end.
Right. Right. And I will mention that we are planning on also posting a video about helping. So we wanted to first talk about how to cope and how to take care of yourself. But if you're at a place where you're like, I really did take care of myself and now I want to help, like, what can I do to help? Stay tuned, because we're posting another video soon about how to do that.
Yes. So yeah,
so much.
Stay tuned. And we thank you so much for watching. We hope that you're coping with this whole crisis well, and we hope that our tips help you. And stay safe, stay inside,
stay healthy. Yeah.
And take care of yourself. That's a wrap. Bye bye. I just got distracted.
Oh, there you go. Perfect example.
I was like, wow, smooth, Tiara.